Welcome, Chief
How are
Miniccio,
you?
for your final budget session as Fire Chief.
Very much for having me. And thanks again for all the support to the board for my tenure. And new man in line here, Manny DeCruz, is going to be taking over, and he's prepared a nice budget within the means of the that we were always been every year. So Manny, so any questions are all referred to Manny.
So just a quick oversight to make this pretty easy, actually. The budget for the fire department is exactly the same as it was last year, except for two items. One is we did put money in the budget for the audit that the board has asked for them to conduct. And then we added money into the budget for the new firefighters insurance that we're required to carry as of January 1. That would be located in the employee benefits section. It's not in here, but actually their budget is exactly as it has been, so it didn't really change other than the audit funds. We put in there 15, no, 10 to have that audit done.
Okay.
They've agreed to do that, and then just provide a report from the auditors that tell us that they are in compliance, and I think that'll be
That'll send a very strong message to the public as
Right.
other departments are being questioned that we are proactively
right.
having independent auditors come in and take a look at everything and give back a report. So I'm very pleased that that's happening. That's good news.
Could I ask about the audit, if you guys
Mhm.
don't mind? Is the audit simply financial, or is it also like a opportunity for improvements? To streamline something
Practices.
or best practices. Because I think when I first started, Tom had one done for his department actually, and it wasn't just this is done well and this is done great and this is area of improvement. But they also had some suggestions, right, for how to do things differently from a processing. So do we already have an audit group in mind, or is it just a budget request at this
It's
point?
just a budget at this
Okay.
point.
So I would just ask that maybe it also be Operation Fit. That it's just helpful. I mean, you guys are all volunteers. It's not your full time jobs. Probably feels like your full time job. You probably think about it more than your full time jobs. But I just that other audits, if you ask only, audit for the finance, that's what you get. But if you ask for and show us better ways to work, or you'll get that. So whoever's running this, I guess it's you guys run it. Is it an oversight by us? I don't
So
know.
I think I'd be working directly with the chief here to do an RFP for auditing services,
Okay.
and so I think we can look at the different items that we can
That'll
put
be
in
great.
there for them. Um,
That'll be great. Good.
we'll find out who can do that for us.
Good.
I want to make one comment about this. You know, when all the activities were revealed from other departments around, around the communities around us, where there were some, financial problems going on. I had spoken to the chiefs and Chief Minicchio in particular, and I had encouraged him to go to the fire commissioners and tell them that it's very important that you could be doing everything just perfectly, but unfortunately, the bad actors from other departments create an unfair perception of departments that are just doing fine. And I asked Chief Minicchio to go to the commissioners to ask them to consider this. And I'm very glad that they came forward and said, yeah, this is the right thing to do. We need to get out ahead of this. We need people to feel that there's an independent review and a look at the way things are done, and that we can do exactly what you're talking about, Rika, which is to make sure that we put in improvements. Best practices are important, and I look forward to understanding the results of it, and those best practices will come into place so that we can continue to run the department as it has been for so many years. So I thank the commissioners and I thank the chiefs for taking leadership on this. So
No doubt that's not how you intended to begin today's discussion. So welcome. Currently, First Assistant Chief DeCruz. What do you want to tell us about your budget this year? Aside from this, the same as last year.
Right. I think that if we could, let's move into the equipment part, because that's on page 5 of your capital budget. Well, yeah, 4 and 5. Here's what we're looking. Just 4, 'cause this gives them right here. Yeah. So there were just 2 requests this year from the department. One was for another fire truck. Do you want to tell them about the fire truck?
So, Austin Hose Engine 96, which is located on the north end of the village, is due to be replaced in 2019. It's a 1996 Seagrave pumper. Operates on the north end of the village and the north end of the town. And, I can just give you some stats if you want. 2015 Engine 96 responded to a total of 179 calls. In 2016, responded to a total of 222 calls. And in 2017, a total of 195 calls. And to date, as this was prepared for our meeting with the village manager from September 13th of this year, it responded to 112 calls. So it is one of the older ones in our fleet. We've had some, I'd say, bigger repairs on it in the last 2 years. Electrical was a little electrical problem with the truck. So, but it is on schedule to be replaced for 2019. Our 5-year capital, it's been in there. So that's what we're looking to do for that. And the only other thing I have in here, continue for our
Yeah, so those
vehicles,
were
or you
the
wanna?
SCBA, but you the harnesses.
Yeah, originally I had it in there for 2020. I don't know what we have it in here.
And then I moved it to 19 because I
Yeah.
thought it was important. We were out of compliance by what, two years?
As of this year, yes, because they're going to certify the 2018. I
Right.
did speak with our supplier, and we do flow testing. We have done flow testing the last 5-6 years on these packs. We still will be in compliance. I'd rather not buy 80 packs at $500,000 if they're going to come out with they're coming out with a new series in 2020. So if we actually purchase this in 2019 and they make updates in 2020, they make a mandated update. So if we buy the packs in 2018 or 2019 right now, and they come out with a new series, we would have to retrofit the brand new ones that we're going to buy. So I would like to hold off. I know it was in there, and Debbie wanted us to get them, but I just actually found out after the meeting I had with her that they're coming out in the first quarter of 2020.
Right,
So
so
I kind of like to hold off on that a little bit.
$480,000, we are
Yes,
totally
fine with me.
fine with delaying a $500,000 expense.
Buy the new units when those come out.
Yeah, I'd rather,
So will they be out in 2020 or
they say the first quarter of 2020 they will
Okay.
be out. But like anything else, I probably wouldn't buy them the first quarter of 2020 until they work all the bugs out of them.
Right.
It's like anything else, buying a phone or a new car. The first model they make.
I want to be an early adopter with
Yeah, sometime-
$500,000 worth of safety equipment.
Let somebody else do it first, and we'll see how it's working.
All right, as long, I mean, you are not a group of people that's going to keep using equipment if you don't think it's safe. So I'm not worried about, if you think that the equipment you have can hold you for another year and a half, then we support
Yes,
your
and we
decision.
still will be in compliance with under NFPA, so we will be all right holding off.
So I've shared with the chief my experience with the fire departments and the equipment, and the last thing that we ever want to do is put them in an unsafe situation. So when I started meeting with them and talking about what they have and things like that, that's why I said, well, we need to move this up because we're out of not compliance, but we're out of
Yeah,
I don't
they don't
what's
like
the
you to
term?
be
Yeah.
3 series out.
Series.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so
And so I think that, we have a good strategy, a good working relationship now so that we can make sure that everything is the way it should be for them when they go out on assignment. And then if you want to turn to page 7.
Before we get off the engine 96, that's your house, right, Mr. Scarduzio? The truck that is in that space right now is the only truck that's in that space, despite the fact that there are 2 companies in that space,
correct.
because the ladder truck doesn't fit. That truck fits by about this much, right? The current truck that's being replaced. We generally don't replace things with smaller trucks unless you tell me that we can this time. So I'm just wondering, I know that the intention is that this firehouse is not going to continue in perpetuity in the way that it is. But since we don't have a path that clearly tells us when this firehouse is going to look different and be built different, are we ordering a truck that is also not going to fit in the north side?
No, that truck will fit in the current building.
The other one was an engine. I mean, the other one's a ladder, so
I know, but you're talking about replacing the engine with a new engine.
It
And,
was
and
more
like
the
Cataract
weight.
got a little bigger, didn't it, when you replaced that engine?
Yeah, but the north side's more of a weight issue, even though the tower ladder would probably lengthwise would make it. It's the weight issue of the truck. It's a yeah.
Okay, but you're saying that you're going to order a new engine that will fit in the current
Yeah, that
building.
won't be an
We're
issue.
saying that on television right now. Okay, just
I'm
want to
telling you, it will fit in the building.
You speak into the microphone,
It will
please.
fit in
Will
the building.
fit.
As is. Yes.
the current building. Okay, thank you.
It will fit. It's yeah, and the weight wouldn't really be too much of an issue.
Okay,
It would
I just
be-
want to make
It would be
sure.
comparable. It's just because the tower ladder went from single axle to dual tandem, and it's a lot heavier.
Yeah, I'm not objecting to the truck. I'm not saying that your firehouse should stay as it is forever. I'm just saying that's what it is right now, and the truck is likely to arrive before any new building is there, and I don't want to not have any trucks on the north end of the village.
It will fit.
Okay.
Correct. I don't want no trucks on the north end of the
I
village either.
think we all agree on that.
Yes.
Good. All right. All right. What was?
So we are looking, we are continue to look at lands that might be available for a new station, in anticipation of what might happen, with Snowden Woods, but, you know, that hasn't stopped, so every time I get an idea, I call him and, you know, it's like, well, what about here? Could it fit here and how would that work? And so I will let you know that that's still on top of our minds, because we do need a location that's gonna service that north end. We keep exploring.
We all agree on that
Looking.
anyway. Exactly what the path is, we haven't figured out, but we all agree that it's necessary.
As long as there's progress.
Okay, so in the capital plan, it outlines the different equipment that they're going to be buying that's actually in the operating budget. And that's on, I guess, the tiny little page 7. 7 in the middle. But it's, yeah, okay.
Budget page 9, but page 7?
Yeah. Well, there's a
Well, there's 2 page
7
numbers,
number
so it
in
is
the
a little
middle,
confusing.
yeah, I know. It's whatever.
Page 9 of part 4, but page 7 of section
Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
8.
Yeah, I got it.
Second to last page of the
There you
capital plan.
go.
So that's your generators, your portable radios, your turnout gear, your fire hose equipment. That's
Right, so those are the regular consumable items. They're listed here so that you know what they're buying, but they're identified in the budget, in the operating budget. So I don't know if you want to go over some of the things that you're looking to replace.
Oh, that's
Did you have that, or you
got
can
capital.
use
got
that one.
radios in there and coat
Yeah.
boots and helmets. Is that what he has?
Yeah. Some
Alright.
hoses and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So.
It's just your
Yeah, so it's
regular
just our basic gear that we purchase every year. It's turnout gear, coats, boots, and helmets. Our fire hose. It's put into capital. We actually just did our hose testing, so we're waiting for the report back to see how many pieces, if any, failed, so we can replace that. The SCBA cylinder replacement, I do have to replace I think about 13 or 15 bottles this year. We're going to split them because I think I had hold on, bottle. In a second, I'll find it. Yeah. How many bottles did I put in there?
You have 15,000 in here for 15.
Yeah, I think I split them because we had a big,
Right.
a lot were going to expire, so I don't want to. Yeah. So I think it was about 35. I think we split it between
15
this
year.
year. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff is in our operating budget, and this
Yeah.
is what comes out of our.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe portable radios are in here also.
Uh-huh.
So any repairs that we do or any new ones we buy. And that's about it.
So I noticed that there's the generators are noted here, and I'm just wondering what what people are thinking about that. I mean, I've always been an advocate for having emergency generators, at firehouses for any number of reasons. Certainly for if we do have a power outage and we need our folks to be in place, our firefighters to be in place, that would provide heat and other necessary energy to run the operation. In addition to that, they can also be a location where if people need a warming station or a place if we do have a catastrophic event, this would also be places where people could go to get warm, to get a shower, to do those types of things. So I don't know what the consideration is of that, but
You're not asking for it in 2019, though.
well, I'm suggesting. Well, I have advocated in prior years that the generators be purchased. But maybe
I
you have
mean,
a
If
thought.
I could just add to that, about 4 years ago, we had a study done. You were involved with that study, John. We had a contractor come out, look at all the firehouses where we could place a emergency generator. They went through the buildings. There was a lot of back and forth, and then it kind of just died out, and it really didn't go anywhere. So I don't know where it just says estimated 14,000 each. I don't know if that number came from that study or not. I don't know where that number came from. But we did look into it, and it just kind of
Well,
to the
I
wayside.
just think that we need to be when we talk about emergency resilience and our ability to get through difficult natural disasters. Fire service is important, and these are buildings that we own that are in different locations around the village. And I would like to see this looked into. I don't know if we could fit it into this year's budget, but I think this is an important thing. I unfortunately I was not able to meet when the budget meeting happened because I probably would have suggested this, but I think this is something that the board needs to consider for the reasons that I've just indicated.
The
So-
two that are listed here are North Side and Holla. Holla makes sense. North Side doesn't make sense to me if that's the
Right.
building altered remarkably in place or elsewhere.
Well, you could select another firehouse, but
Well, I was wondering why these two are on here. Do the others already have generators?
the only
None of-
generator that we have is at headquarters. That's it. We have two portable generators, 10,000 watt generators, that we can move there. It doesn't run the whole building, but will suffice in an
we have
emergency.
portable generators, right?
Two portable generators. It'll open the garage door. It'll keep the heat pump running, and basic electricity in the building for maybe like half the lights. That's how we're operating now.
We'll definitely look into that. I haven't had a chance to go over all of the buildings that we have in the generator situation with DPW, but that'll be something we'll definitely talk about. Because we were also, and I haven't mentioned this to you, but when we reach out to our solar company, we're asking them also to review all of the roofs on all of the fire stations as well. So if there's a way that we can tie in solar, that would be.
Well, yeah, that technology is actually arriving. now.
Yep, it is.
Where it's because like my house is 4-year-old solar, so it has to go to the grid. I can't get into my house, but now you actually can have it
Right.
programmed so that you can get directly from if it's sunny out, even if there's no power on the grid, you can be powering some amount of. So that would be ideal, but if it's not going to happen in the next year or two, I'm not against having more of our firehouses be resilient.
We'll look into that for sure. We'll work together and
that's-
see where.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can dig that up. See.
Yeah, I echoed Deputy Mayor Codman's statement. So the village is already on a very good path to making sure that our buildings that are used at all times, especially when it comes to emergencies and public access, are able to operate in any emergency or event that happens. I do stress and put more importance on obviously emergency services, right? So fire, police. So anything that we can do, my kind of suggestion would be without having to delay the implementation on whatever two firehouses are selected this year, if they are, would be if there's a way to kind of have a comprehensive approach to how to, us identifying out of all our properties, which ones are the ones that we actually do want to have a backup generator installed on property, and kind of, how to get our village completely, resilient and in a priority list, right? So fire would be one or two, and then other buildings, DPW, right? Rec already has one, right? So, yeah, so.
So just to be clear, if there's support for the generators, I mean, working out the details about what firehouse, or whether it's this one or that one, are we looking to make this a capital project for this year? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm not agreeing to that. I think that the agreement, they have to look at it, and it's not just firehouses. You want to look at your community, because it's not just firehouses. You're not gonna have. They have a budget. They came up with a budget based on staying the same. I'm very much in support of the budget that you came up. Anything extra is setting us over, and you add something, something has to come off. I mean, these are budget meetings so that we stay within a certain budget line. If you could get generators and take something off the list and come in at the same, that's great.
Well, we
For me, I mean, I'm speaking for me. So
$480,000 came off the budget. So, I mean, I'm not suggesting we spend $480,000, but, I think a financial commitment by the village, as a capital project to look into these generators is something that we need to do. And, we could, listen, it's a budget, we could put a dollar amount in there now and say, this is that we could put that money in there and put it towards, the idea of doing that. But I think we have to be much more intentional. And part of the budget is expressing that intention.
So we have 9 companies, 7 houses. We own 5 of them. Headquarters is 2 companies that already has a generator. There are 2 portable generators. There are some buildings that are potentially in a little bit in flux, and the buildings might not all have the same companies in them a few years from now. So that's probably not the ones where you want to be investing a long-term, permanent generator. But there are some companies, they're not going anywhere. Hollow Hose is in the same building for a long time, and we actually don't have any municipal facilities on that end of town, and that's a densely populated part of town. That's a logical one to be on the list here. North Side's not a logical one.
Well, it would be logical if it was
Yeah, if it was-
newer building.
yeah, if we knew what it was going to look like 2, 3, 4 years
So
from
that's
now.
why
Yeah.
it's.
No, geographically,
Yes.
yes, but logistically, with where we
Yes.
are with the company, no. So, I don't believe 14,000 is a realistic number.
Yeah,
So,
like I said, I don't know where that number came from.
yeah.
I don't know if it was from the study. We did it about 4 years ago, so I'm not really sure where that number.
I mean, it's been on the budget for at least 5 years.
So
And it's, it's being pushed off year for year.
We had miscellaneous equipment for a couple of years, and then we were just going ahead to see where we
Yeah.
go permanent.
And then we bought those two we bought those two 10,000 watt portable
Right.
generators just to.
So it makes a lot of sense for one of those portable generators to be on the north side for now, like anticipate,
Correct.
because that's, further removed.
Yep. It was actually there the other day.
Right.
So, John, what you're saying is instead of having the estimate that we're not sure about the actual number to be moved for consideration this year instead of 2020.
Well,
that's what you're asking, right?
No, I'm saying that we need to be, this should be a capital budget item that should be for 2019, and we
Right.
should do the
Instead of
study and
2020.
figure out where we think our best bet is, and what makes sense logistically to put a generator in one of the firehouses. And I would agree with the mayor that that particular firehouse, Hollow Hose, is probably
Or Cataract, it's just the Cataract is so closely, it's like across the street from all the rest of our emergency services. So it has, that doesn't mean you can open your garage door without power, but it is, Hollow Hose is sort of a little more off on its own from the other emergency services. So that's why it stands out. But Cataract's not going anywhere either, right?
Yeah, they're not going to go anywhere.
I think the recommendation
I-
would be to meet with Andy to look at the facilities, look at the capacities, look at what we, actually look at the buildings and see what we would need as far as the size of generator, where could it go, This would be one of those perfect items if we have a house that we know is going to stay there for a long time, that we actually use 18's fund balance to actually buy a generator that can be permanently installed at least in one location, and then we'll have a better idea of all the other facilities and what we need to do, and then we can budget appropriately for that.
If we think we can get the information and to be able to use 2018 funds, that would be great. If it's going to take a little longer to figure out exactly if it's a $14,000 or $60,000 investment, I really don't know. Then that's got to be an additional conversation. I like the idea of if we knew we want to do this, for a few things going out, let's do one in 2019, one in 2020, one in 2021.
Exactly. Put a
And
plan together.
so I'm not confident that we'll have all the information we need to be able to say we'll do it out of 2018 funds. I realize we can dip a little bit into early 2019, but I don't know. I want to make an educated decision. But so I'm comfortable with the idea of putting a placeholder number, and I'd love to have a semi-accurate placeholder
Right.
number for 2019. It's not
And I believe
14,000.
that we can because
Yeah,
we have
it's like
generators
60
in
to
other
80,000.
so we know what they cost. We know how they have to be installed, and it's not, we can ballpark that number.
I'd like to try to just go back and dig up that report that we
Yeah,
got
that'd
done
be great.
first,
Yeah.
and let's use that as a starting point, and then we can proceed that way.
And have Andy,
Agreed.
because we have done a lot of generators in the village in recent years, so
Because we have electricians that I'm sure would be happy to give us a quote and especially if that report said what is needed in each of the locations.
Yeah,
Right.
the electrician went around and checked the load for the
That's perfect.
we're gonna start from there.
that'd be great. So Holla and Cataract are the ones that make sense, but Holla's the one that makes
Well,
logical
Holla
sense.
would in the priority list is the first one that needs to get one
We're like
because it can house other equipment also. It's got 2 bays there.
terrific.
So operational wise, it makes sense.
Good. Top of the list. Look, and none of you are from Holla either. You can tell all your buddies when you leave the room. We said,
Remind me again, last question,
great.
because it's great that you're on budget last year, so it's all good. How many firefighters?
I just went through the rolls with Debbie. It's 455 right now.
Is that an increase or the same?
We went
450, but is it 455?
455. We actually went down a little bit. We had to remove. We lost about 20 members this year
Okay.
due to death. So, oh yeah. How many members? We took in 8 members. So
Okay, so you have
we're down a little bit.
455, and tell me again how the levels. There is the active. What is that?
Well, the village only has one status. It's just active firefighter. But internally, we have our own. We break it down for interior and exterior members. So,
who's eligible for the cancer insurance?
well, we still need to discuss. We're going back and forth. That's
Your firefighters,
Yeah.
over 5 years of service, they have to
There's
be
a lot of
screened for
stipulations.
pre-cancer. There's a lot of,
there's a lot of different
State
stipulations. We have
specs,
to
right?
go
Yeah.
sit down with. I
Okay.
gotta sit down with Stuart. And,
but we're working on it. Tom's working on getting us a quote based on numbers we gave him.
That's a pretty big budget item.
Yeah.
And we've never done before. We don't have any
But
guesstimate.
we did earmark some money in it based on what we think the rates are gonna come in at the number. So it's in here.
That's not exempt from the tax cap, right?
It is. No, it is, isn't it?
It's not an add-on to the tax cap. It has to be within the tax cap.
There's no sense, but
I'm trying to think. Didn't Sandy? I thought Sandy.
Yes, another
I
unfunded
know, I know they,
mandate.
I know
Yes,
they were
we have to-
lobbying for it. I don't know if it.
I thought that actually that I mean I'm not trying to go over the tax cap anyway. I can't even believe how ridiculously low the tax cap is. I don't want to have any increase in the tax rate, so that's my goal. But I don't actually think that this. I thought this was exempt.
So we have to
from the
look
tax cap.
into it.
I thought that's what Sandy said.
We'll verify it, but I don't think so, not at this time.
Yeah.
on my page. Right?
Something she mentioned recently.
I'm trying to get it.
Wait,
Yeah. We have to sit
Okay,
down with
guys. What else? These are the kind of meetings you want to say, "Hey, we're done."
we're
Stuart.
done. We're back on schedule.
No, this is great. This is great.
I
you
got
guys
I
had a
got
lot
one thing.
going
You
on
guys
this year.
skipped over my
Oh, please, Chief, tell us what's on your
capital
list.
for.
What did you?
new
What did
chief's
we skip
vehicle.
over?
What?
Ah,
What?
In the capital.
And the
for
Chiefs
new
vehicle is
chief's
already on
vehicle.
there.
Yeah, so I forgot that.
Now, Manny didn't forget that.
That's what we deleted, right? No, I'm kidding.
All right, so what are we
Sorry.
talking about?
So I have I put in 55,000 in capital for a new chief's vehicle. So I'll just go over it real quick. We have 5 vehicles that we rotate between the chiefs, the deputy chief, and we have a spare. It stays in the vehicle when we get it from day one, stays in the department for 10 years, and then we give it to the village. And they either give it to DPW, the rec department, or
Gov deals.
yeah,
Yeah.
or they get rid of it. But our spare has 137,000 miles on it, so it's pretty much at the end of its life. So I'm just looking to replace the vehicle so we can bump them down one.
Yeah, how many deputy chief vehicles do you have?
One.
You just have
With
one.
the 3 chiefs, 1 deputy chief, and then we use one as a spare. And it also pulls our slow response trailer, others. It does other stuff. It's not just a spare, but that's its title. It's a utility.
So you have
Yeah.
5 active chief vehicles for the 3
Tahoes.
chiefs. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But they keep all their stuff. We don't
You mean?
all the fancy.
All the retrofitting.
You can retro.
Yeah, so all that stuff stays in them until they get moved down. And then once we actually
Take them out when they go to the rec department. I get that.
yeah, we
but
actually take it out and put it in a new car.
Okay.
We recycle
so
the
you're
lights.
you're gonna get
Whatever's in
8-year-old,
that
lights
this
in
car
there.
right here, 153, it's got 137,000 miles on it. That's what would go into the new car if we get it. I'd have to take all those radios out and put them in the new one.
When's the last time we bought a vehicle for the chief? Every year?
Well,
Well,
every 2
no.
years. usually.
2017 was every 2 years we try to rotate them out. We did skip a year, 2000. Remember the year?
You Connolly skipped a year.
Yeah, and it kind of threw a wrench in the operation.
We didn't think so. It's before my
yeah.
time, but
So they
skipping,
have.
skipping a vehicle is never a
You know,
bad thing.
We're paying for repairs on a car that
bus.
we shouldn't have had. So yeah.
That's
yes.
the 98 bus. Is that the one we replaced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So they have the 2002. They have a 2007, 2011, 13, and 15, and we try to rotate them out every 5 years. So the one that
Yeah, the 2002 is not. We had the 2017, 2015, 2013, 2011, and the 2007.
seven.
The other ones were all retired by our
2015
department.
as well. 2015.
Yes.
15, 13, 11, 7, and 2.
No, 2.
No,
The
2.
2 is gone.
We don't.
Oh, that's.
Is that what is it?
Is that the Blue Monster?
Where are you look? Jack, what are you looking at? Scott, what is that the fast truck? Is that the 2002
That's the
fast truck?
Rapid intervention.
Yeah, no, that's us. Yes, yeah. That's a truck. That's an apparatus.
Okay.
That's not in the chief car.
that's like an
separate.
apparatus.
That's
Just
like a
in the
utility.
fire.
That's like yeah.
Yeah. That is
Didn't we have a
ours, yes.
request yesterday from someone for a new car, a new something? So you're gonna look at all the cars.
Absolutely.
If they're giving up one, we can use it somewhere else.
Absolutely. And some of them just need to go away.
This
Like-
was in okay.
5.
Okay.
Just wanted to allude to what the mayor said that we're really only adding another item to our fleet so we can continue the rotation, and we're the public should really know that we do recycle what's in the chief's car. They don't get, we don't buy everything new inside or outside. I mean, the majority of it does get recycled.
Yeah.
So
So essentially, we're replacing the 2007.
Correct.
Anything else?
Off the top of
That was
my
the
head,
wrap
no,
up
I
of the
think.
chief vehicle discussion.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
Did
the
you have any-
2007 with 137,000 miles that they want, so that they're rotating.
I believe that's all I
Maybe
have.
somebody else can use it. I have 140,000 on one of my trucks.
Oh, somebody would be able to use it, just not
I
as
know.
frontline
I'm
for
not suggesting
emergency
you should.
responder. Yeah.
It's somebody who drives local and could use it for something
If
else.
they get delayed, it's not a life or death issue.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what we should be doing.
That's
Any
all
final
I have.
words for us? Any final thoughts? Things you want us to have in mind?
We like having you here. We just don't want
Chi-
you to.
Chief Benicio, you don't have any final words for
Come
us?
on.
none at all.
Share the microphone with Mr. Benicio there. I'll call you Chief for now.
Thank
Keep
you,
going, Chief.
Madam Mayor. But it's been a pleasure working out. I mean, like I said, this department came in strides in our time. We worked together, the board, the fire chiefs, and I'd like to thank you guys always for keeping us in mind. We know that we have a dangerous job out there. We ask a lot of the community to volunteer, and we can't do it without the proper equipment. So you guys have been always grateful and giving us our requests. So thank you again. And I know Chief DeCruz and Chief Gallery and soon to be Chief Scarduzio will be doing the same things as the past chiefs. So thank you.
Thanks.
you.
We were sworn in on the same day
Yes.
for the first time.
Ooh.
So, but God bless.
Watch it,
It's on
watch
you
it.
next time, yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Let's do this.
so we'll see what's next for you. Now you have all this time on your hands.
Yes.
Watch my boys play some ball. We'll see how it goes.
That's a good thing to do with your
Come through
time.
college.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Who's next?
IT.